So there is an expectation that you heard of the notion of pay for performance. Well, the idea is the more an employee is able to perform, the higher they're able to perform, they're able to get more pay based on the contributions that they're able to make. Well, in this particular case, this person is entering into the joy of their Lord, which means that they are, in effect, going to have a positive experience in life. Life is going to be good for them because they have demonstrated, according to the man's plan, he believed that this person could produce more than he had given them, and this person did produce more than he had given them. This person did win. This person did succeed. This person did become victorious. So happy is this person's way of life, this person who was assigned 5. They're entering into the joy of their Lord. Continue reading.
He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord.
So the person whom the Lord had assigned to, based on their skill, based on their ability, that person went and got 2 more. That's what the Bible is telling us. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. So this person is entering into a happy place, a joyous place. And when people win, how do people normally respond when you win or when you succeed? You make an A on a paper. Especially when you've been through a difficult test, or you've been through a difficult trial, or you've been through a difficult race. But when you succeed or win, how does it feel?
Good.
When you the test, how does it feel?
It's good.
It feels good, doesn't it? When you succeeded, do you feel relieved?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you feel relieved. Especially you feel relieved and you're happy because it's behind you and you were successful. And I'm sure the one who was given 5 felt that way. The one who was given 2 felt that way. Continue.
And he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art an hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there that is thine.
So let's look at what happened here. The servant that the Lord gave 1 talent to, the fact that the man gave 1 talent to this servant, what does that tell you about the Lord's belief in that person's skill and abilities? What does that tell you?
That he wasn't productive.
This person wasn't as productive as the one that he gave 2, was he?
No.
Wasn't as productive as the one that he gave 5, was it?
Right.
So do you think the man is relying more on the person who he gave 1 to, or the one that he gave 5 to?
5.
So let's go back to the analogy of track. Who do you think the coach is going to rely on? The one who has demonstrated the prior effort and skill to achieve the best result, or the person who has not consistently demonstrated the effort and skill and actually achieved lesser results? Who do you think the coach is going to rely on when they start assigning people to the events for their planning? Who do you think the coach is going to rely on?
One that accomplished more.
The one that has demonstrated consistently the effort and skill to accomplish more. Now, I've seen on track teams where people say, well, I can do that. I'm faster than this person. I'm better than this person. I can jump over this person. I can throw for this person. I've heard it. Personally, I've heard it. But in order to have a successful plan to win the meet, you have to go with those who are most reliable, those who demonstrate the effort and skill to achieve success, the success that you desire. Here in this example, we're talking about life races. Here in the example, this person who had won, the first thing out of this person's mouth was an excuse. This person began to say, as the 24th verse says, he said, then he, which had received 1 talent, came to the Lord and said, Lord, I knew that thou art an hard man. So he began to set up an excuse. He began to make an excuse for why he didn't run the race like he should. He began to make an excuse for why he didn't achieve the result that he should have achieved. Now, it wasn't like the man gave him something that he could not do with. In other words, he wouldn't be on the team if he couldn't at least be a part of the company if he couldn't at least do something with 1 talent. But here, this person began to make an excuse. So what is the goal of the man or the Lord here?
But he would have made more money when he came back.
The purpose or the purpose, we learned that purpose is defined as what? What is purpose defined as?
Something set up as a goal to achieve.
Something set up as a goal to achieve. So the man's purpose, the owner's purpose, the goal was to achieve profit, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. So when the owner gives people, he gave them, not only did he give them the resources that they needed, they also had what? Time. So the one who ran the race with 5 talents used the time, chose to use the time, and was able to profit with 5 more. The one who ran the race with 2 chose to use their time and to profit by using their time to produce 2. Well, that was within the ability that he had given them. So they did exactly what the man's plan was. He knew that the person he gave 5 had the ability to produce at least 5. So he gave that person because he could rely on that person, and that person delivered. The one who had 2, he can rely on that person, and that person delivered. But the one who had 1, he gave that person 1 because he knew that that person would not be able to handle 2. That person would not be able to handle the responsibility of 5. They were not responsible to handle more responsibility to achieve that level of success. On a track team, there are some athletes that end up having to do more because they have the ability and the skill to do more. They show the character, the mental, and the mental faculties and the moral character to do more. And so those athletes stand out more than the other athletes on the team, simply because they have the mental faculties and the moral character. They demonstrate, they responded to the training more effectively than others. They demonstrate a level of discipline, which is training that corrects, molds, and perfects them. They demonstrate a level of discipline that allows them to achieve more. The one who had 5 demonstrated a level of discipline that allowed them to achieve more success. The one who had 2 did the very same thing. The one who had 1 did not, but made an excuse. Used the time that was given. The Lord left, went somewhere, and came back. And all the time that the Lord was gone, they only had to make profit with 1 talent. And that person chose to do nothing. but hide it and hand it back to the Lord. Think about it. The Lord could have just kept the talent in their pocket and not had this person as a servant. Isn't that right?
True.
Well, the Lord is basically saying, if this is all that you're going to produce, then I can just keep my talent in my pocket and get rid of you. Does that make sense? That opens up one spot for somebody else who might do the job. Right?
Right.
The same message for us. God gives us according to our several abilities to run this race called life. And when we use our gifts and talents in the right way, we win for ourselves and we win for God. Just like the expectation of this man, this owner, he was expecting to win for the people to win for themselves, but also to win for him. That's God's plan. That's his purpose. That's his will. His will is about us winning as individuals, succeeding as individuals, achieving as individuals, surpassing our records as individuals, and it glorifying him. That's what the Lord is after. Continue reading, please. Let's see what happened to this servant.
His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knowest that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchanges, and then at my coming I should have received mine own with usury.
So this is a rebuke to this servant. Now we learned earlier from our Bible spelling words that strict training, that discipline, is strict training that corrects and strengthens. And so this is basically the man, basically telling the servant, there are things that you could have done to produce profit for me. This is also confirming the fact that the man who gave them these talents expected that he would have profit when he returned. Expected they would do something that would show that they had effort that would lead to profit. So what this man was looking for was effort. The proper effort. The effort that they had been, that the plan called for them to achieve. The effort that they've been put into this plan. Think about it like a coach. This man is like a coach, and he has 3 athletes. And each of the athletes have been put into the plan to win. The coach goes off and comes back. While he's gone, he's expecting that they would be executing their race plan, their plan for their events. One who has 5 events, one who has 2 events, one who has 1 event. The same idea. What we have to recognize is that it is our effort and our skill that gets us success, that enables us to win. This man is not interested in excuses. And how do we know this person, this owner of this business, is not interested in an employee's excuses for doing nothing? Because time has gone by. And that time has gone by and nothing was produced. No improvement was made. Everybody had the same amount of time. So everybody had time to be able to do something and to make things better than it was. This person chose not to do that. So there's a consequence for not choosing to use your abilities and skill to the glory of God. Continue reading, please.
Take therefore the talent from him and give it unto him which has 10 talents. So
the expectation is still, does it sound like the man still wants profit?
Yeah.
And how do we know the person still wants profit? The man still wants profit? Because he said, take the 1 talent from him and do what?
Give it to the one that has 10 talents.
Give it to the one who made 10. because he knows the one who made 10 is going to do something with it. That person is the highest probability. That's the high performer. That's the go-to person. That's the person he knows that he can trust and rely on to get it done and get it done in the right way. That's why there are go-to people. Because those are the people that they can trust in and rely on to get things done in the right way in this life, this race called life. So the man still wants to see profit, but he has to also deal with the person who chose not to use their abilities to provide profit. He has to deal with that. He has to address the performance issue that he sees in his business. He has to address the performance issue that he sees in his classroom. He has to address the performance issue that he sees on his team. If you're not going to do something, then the coach is going to say, why waste my time? I don't need you on my team. If you're not going to do something at work in the time that's been given to you, and you still expect me to pay you, then I don't need you. It's the same thing. It's about how we choose to run. Do we have the discipline to run God's particular race that he has for us? See, God desires for us to achieve. He gave us gifts and talents for us to win, to succeed. And we apply them to the things to the opportunities that we have in our life. And we should win. We should succeed. But when we are not, the question is we have to ask ourselves is whether or not we demonstrated the discipline to run the race to run God's particular race that he's placed before us. Whether or not we have the discipline to stay in our lane and achieve what God has in store for us. Continue reading.
For unto everyone that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that has not shall be taken away even that which he has. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
So the Bible said you're going to cast then the unprofitable servant. And notice the word unprofitable. So what does that tell you that the man had in mind when he put this plan together?
He had in mind of making profit.
He intended to make profit, didn't he? He intended to make profit from all three of the servants. Just like a coach in track and field. When they assign athletes to particular events, to run races, to compete in certain races or events, their plan, they're expecting that they are going to compete, that they're going to win, that they're going to exceed personal records. They're expecting that, especially from those who previously have shown that they demonstrated the effort and skill to do so. They're not expecting excuses. And for those that they believe that would make excuses, they think that they've already dealt with those people by not allowing them on the team, by cutting them or not employing them. So understand, from God's point of view, the gifts and talents and abilities that he gives us, the mental skills, how smart we are, and the character that we have, God gives it to us for us to benefit personally so that we can have a series of successes in our life, not failures. But we must have the habits and ways of acting that enable us to achieve success and victory. The servant is unprofitable. The Lord doesn't want us to be in that space. Go over with me to Psalms 30, back to Psalms. I said we were going to go back to Psalms. Go with me to Psalms 39. Psalms 39, let me have a reader at the 4th verse, please.
Lord, make me to know my end and the measure of my days, what it is that I may know how frail I am. Behold, thou hast made my days as an handbreadth, and my age is as nothing before thee. Verily every man at his best saith is altogether vanity. Selah.
The psalmist said, help me to know my life. Help me to know my purpose for you, Lord. This is the psalmist's request unto the Lord. This is the psalmist trying to understand his path. In other words, he's been in this race, but he's not been clear about what his purpose was. When we become born again, that's when our eyes begin to be open. We begin to learn. The more we learn about God's way, the more our eyes begin to be open about this new life that we have, this spiritual life that we have on earth. And we begin to realize that there is more to our race than we thought it was before. Just like Jesus, the Bible declares unto us, he said unto his parents when he was at Jerusalem, he said, know ye not that I must be about my Father's business? He began to realize spiritually that there was more to the life that he had, his race, than he had understood before. But he was coming into the understanding that God expected more of him. So he had to begin to put more effort toward what it is that God desired for him to do. The same is true for us. When we become born again, the more we read the Word, the more we learn about God's way, the more God begins to, through the Holy Spirit, the Comforter, begins to reveal to us his will for us and his way for us. We have to then demonstrate the discipline to walk in the particular path that God has for us.
Oh, praise be to God, from whom all blessings flow. It is our prayer at Clay Family Ministries that your life has been increased with the increase of God through this study. We appreciate and are thankful for your fellowship during this life skills study segment.